For centuries it has remained hidden, an artifact so sacred, so powerful, that it was said to hold the very presence of God Himself, the Ark of the Covenant. What if I told you that this divine relic, central to some of the Bible's most extraordinary events, simply vanished without a trace? What happened to it? Where did it go? And why does its disappearance still haunt humanity today? Was it stolen during the Babylonian siege? Hidden in a secret chamber beneath Solomon's temple? Or does it rest in a place far beyond our reach, guarded, forgotten, or even destroyed? And here's the question no one dares to ask. Could the Ark's knowledge, its power, have been too dangerous for humanity? In this video, we'll dive deep into the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant, exploring ancient texts, tantalizing theories, and forbidden knowledge that may hold the key to one of the greatest mysteries in biblical history. What happened to the Ark of the Covenant? Let's find out. The story of the Ark begins with God's direct command to Moses, detailed in Exodus 25. Imagine this moment. God Himself instructs His people to build a sacred chest, a physical manifestation of His covenant with Israel. He provides precise dimensions, materials, and design, down to the pure gold that covered it and the cherubim with outstretched wings that adorned its lid. This wasn't just an ornate box. The Ark was the dwelling place of the Shekinah, the visible presence of God. Within it lay 3 sacred objects: records, copper wire, powder pot paintings, and candles. The stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, inscribed by the very finger of God. Aaron's rod, a symbol of divine authority and leadership. A golden jar of manna, a reminder of God's provision during the Israelites' journey through the wilderness. The Ark was more than a treasure. It was a divine beacon. Its presence reminded Israel of their covenant, their chosen status, and their responsibility to remain faithful to God. Throughout Israel's history, the Ark didn't simply sit as a relic. It moved, leading God's people into battle, across rivers, and into new lands. The Israelites standing at the banks of the Jordan River, the waters raging before them. As soon as the priests carrying the Ark stepped into the water, the river parted, Joshua 3:15-16. The Ark led them across on dry ground, a clear sign that God was with them. And who can forget the fall of Jericho? The Ark was carried in silence around the city for 6 days, and on the 7th day, with a mighty shout, the walls came tumbling down, Joshua 6. It wasn't the sound of trumpets that brought Jericho to its knees. It was the power of God, carried within the Ark. But the Ark's power came with a warning. It was holy, untouchable by human hands. Those who disrespected its sanctity faced dire consequences. Consider the story of Uzzah, 1 Samuel 6:6-7. When the Ark was being transported, it began to tip. Instinctively, Uzzah reached out to steady it, and in that instant, he was struck dead. It may seem harsh, but this was a powerful reminder. The Ark was not an ordinary object. It was a representation of God's untouchable holiness. The Ark was also feared by Israel's enemies. During one battle, the Philistines captured the Ark, believing they had defeated Israel's God. But what followed was nothing short of terrifying. Their idol, Dagon, fell before the Ark, and a plague swept through their cities, 1 Samuel 5:2. The Philistines quickly realized this was no ordinary artifact. It was a weapon of divine power they could not control. The Ark wasn't just a historical artifact. It was a bridge between heaven and earth, a reminder of God's presence, His power, and His holiness. But it also posed a question that echoes to us today. Are we prepared to stand in the presence of a holy God? The Ark's power wasn't just in its ability to perform miracles or strike down enemies. Its real significance lay in what it symbolized, a relationship between the Creator and His people. Through the Ark, God reminded Israel of their call to obedience, purity, and faithfulness. But here's the most intriguing part. The Ark once central to Israel's worship, suddenly disappears from the biblical narrative. What happened to this sacred vessel? Was it hidden, destroyed, or taken to another realm? The Ark of the Covenant was the physical embodiment of God's promise to His people, a sacred vessel of unimaginable power. So how could something so central to biblical history simply disappear? Did God Himself take it away to protect it from defilement? Or did mankind, in its frailty, hide it so well that even history forgot its location? In 2 Chronicles 35:3, we find the final biblical reference to the Ark. King Josiah, known for his dedication to restoring God's law, instructed the Levites, "Put the holy Ark in the house that Solomon the son of David king of Israel built. It shall no longer be a burden on your shoulders. Serve the Lord your God and His people Israel." At this point, the Ark was still present in Jerusalem, but then a dark chapter unfolded. In 500 AD 5 BCE, the Babylonian army led by King Nebuchadnezzar invaded, sacked the city, and destroyed the Temple of Solomon. This was a devastating moment for Israel. Yet what's even more perplexing is this: the Ark is never mentioned in the records of Babylonian plunder. Where did it go? Was it taken by invaders, hidden in the chaos, or removed by divine intervention? Many believe the Ark was taken during the Babylonian conquest. If so, why does the Bible and even Babylonian records remain silent about such a prized treasure? Some theorists suggest the Babylonians took it and melted it down for gold, though this seems unlikely given its spiritual significance. Alternatively, could the Ark have been hidden by priests in the days leading up to the siege? Many argue the Levites, entrusted with its care, acted swiftly to conceal it before the temple fell. Mini-hook. But if the Ark wasn't captured, where could the priests have hidden such a monumental artifact? Another theory carries a more supernatural explanation. What if God Himself took the Ark? As the Ark represented His covenant with Israel, it's plausible that God removed it to prevent desecration. This theory aligns with biblical themes of divine protection, as seen when God intervened to protect the Ark from misuse by surrendering the 7 loaded stones and lifting them off their palmers in Psalm 116 through 1:7. This idea leads to a profound question. Was humanity no longer worthy of the Ark's presence? Could its disappearance signal a turning point in God's relationship with His people? The Levites, guardians of the Ark, may have acted decisively during Jerusalem's fall. Some believe they transported the Ark to a hidden chamber beneath Solomon's temple, a labyrinth of tunnels that remain unexplored to this day. Others argue it was taken far from Jerusalem, possibly to a sanctuary outside Israel. Ethiopian Christians, for instance, claim the Ark resides in the chapel of the tablet in Aksum, guarded by a single priest who dedicates his life to its protection. But could the Levites have known their hiding place would keep the Ark concealed for millennia? The Babylonian conquest was more than a military defeat, it was a spiritual catastrophe. The destruction of the temple and exile of the Israelites marked the loss of their central place of worship and the physical connection to God's presence. For the Israelites, the Ark's disappearance was not just a historical tragedy. It symbolized a rupture in their covenant relationship with God. Yet even in their despair, hope lingered. Prophets like Jeremiah spoke of restoration, hinting at a divine plan greater than any earthly artifact. The Ark of the Covenant is more than an artifact. It's a divine enigma. Believed to house the presence of God Himself, the Ark's disappearance has baffled scholars, theologians, and adventurers for centuries. Today, we're diving deep into 5 of the most compelling theories about the Ark's current location, and each one has its own breathtaking twist. 1. Ethiopia, the hidden sanctuary. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church boldly claims the Ark rests within the sacred chapel of the tablet in Aksum, a city steeped in ancient Christian tradition. According to their account, the Ark was brought to Ethiopia by Menelik, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, centuries ago. It is said to have been guarded there ever since. Some have reported witnessing extraordinary phenomena surrounding the chapel, bright lights, unexplained energy. But skeptics argue it could be a replica. What do you think? Is the Ark lying in humble solitude in this remote church, or is this just a legend passed through generations? 2. Hidden beneath the Temple Mount. Beneath Jerusalem's Temple Mount lies a labyrinth of tunnels, ancient chambers, and mysteries. Many believe that before the Babylonian conquest, the Levite priests hid the Ark in a secret chamber designed by King Solomon himself. Archaeologists have searched the area for decades, but political tensions and religious sensitivities make excavation nearly impossible. Could God's greatest relic be hidden in plain sight, waiting for the appointed time to reveal itself? 3. Egypt, a relic in exile. During times of great crisis, the Jewish people often fled to Egypt for refuge. Some historians suggest the Ark was taken to Elephantine Island, where a Jewish community once built a temple. Evidence of Jewish worship on the island supports this theory, but no trace of the Ark has been found. If it is in Egypt, could it be buried beneath centuries of history, lost to the sands of time? 4. The Vatican connection. Some conspiracy theorists whisper of the Vatican's secret archives, a labyrinth of restricted halls, rumored to hold artifacts of unimaginable power. Could the Ark of the Covenant rest within these walls, hidden away to prevent its power from falling into the wrong hands? The Vatican denies these claims, but the allure of such a theory persists. After all, if any institution had the resources and motive to protect or control the Ark, it would be the Vatican. Could they be guardians of this sacred treasure, or is this just another layer of myth? 5. Destroyed or ascended, a divine mystery. Some scholars argue that the Ark was either destroyed during the Babylonian siege or taken to heaven by divine intervention. After all, if the Ark is God's earthly throne, wouldn't it make sense for it to return to Him when its purpose was fulfilled? Revelation 11:19 hints at this possibility, describing the Ark seen in God's heavenly temple. Could this vision be a prophecy of its return, signaling the end times? Mystical and forbidden knowledge. What does the Ark of the Covenant truly represent? The Ark of the Covenant wasn't just a symbol of Israel's relationship with God. It was a conduit of His divine power. When the priests carried it into the Jordan River, the waters parted in 46 BC. At Jericho, its mere presence caused the city's impenetrable walls to crumble, Joshua 6:25. But here's the question: what made this artifact so powerful? And why was it eventually hidden from humanity? Could it be that the Ark's power was too great for humans to wield? Stories abound of those who dared to misuse it and suffered dire consequences. Consider Uzzah, who reached out to steady the Ark and was struck dead instantly. This was no ordinary relic. It was sacred, dangerous, and deeply intertwined with God's will. Could such power have been a risk to humanity's survival? What if the Ark contained more than just physical items like the Ten Commandments? Some scholars and theologians believe it held divine knowledge, secrets of creation itself. Could it have been a portal to God's infinite wisdom, a blueprint of His divine order? Theories suggest that the Ark's construction as described in Exodus was no accident. The precise dimensions, the gold overlay, and the cherubim above the mercy seat, each element reflected heavenly patterns. Some even speculate that the Ark could have been a source of divine energy, a kind of holy technology passed down from God to humanity. If the Ark could part rivers and level cities, what else might it have been capable of? Could it have contained instructions for harnessing the forces of nature or unlocking the mysteries of the universe? And if so, who would dare wield such power? Why was this knowledge forbidden? Why was this knowledge, this power, concealed? Was it simply lost to time, or was it deliberately hidden? The Bible suggests that God Himself may have removed the Ark to protect humanity. After all, in the hands of the wrong people, such power could lead to catastrophe. Beyond its power and mystery, the ark stands as a profound symbol of God's covenant with His people. It reminds us of His promise to guide and protect those who follow His ways. But it also serves as a warning, a call to humility. God's power is not ours to control. It is His alone. Perhaps the ark's disappearance is part of God's divine plan. It forces us to focus not on relics or artifacts, but on the true source of salvation, our faith in Him. After all, isn't it better to seek God's presence in our hearts than in a golden chest? The Ark of the Covenant isn't just an ancient relic lost to history, but a piece of God's divine plan still waiting to unfold in the final chapter of humanity. Could this sacred artifact hold the key to the end times and the return of Christ? The ark's connection to Revelation. In Revelation 11:19, we read something extraordinary. Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and the ark of His covenant was seen within His temple. This is one of the most tantalizing clues about the ark's ultimate destiny. Is this a vision of the ark returning at the end of days, revealing itself to the world as a sign of God's power and authority? Or could it mean the ark was never truly lost, but taken to heaven for safekeeping until the appointed time? The ark wasn't just a chest carrying sacred items. It was the throne of God's presence on earth, the place where heaven touched earth. Its reappearance in heaven is no coincidence. It symbolizes that the covenant between God and His people remains intact even as the world descends into chaos during the final days. But here's the question. If the ark is destined to return, what does that mean for humanity? Are we ready for the reckoning it might bring? The ark isn't merely a historical artifact. It's a powerful reminder of God's unchanging authority. When Moses received the Ten Commandments, the ark became the physical representation of God's covenant, a promise of guidance, law, and protection. But it also carried a warning. To stray from God's law is to invite disaster. In the chaos of the end times, could the ark return as a divine reminder of humanity's failure to keep that covenant? Imagine the impact of seeing the ark once again, radiating its holy power, a stark message that God's authority transcends the ages. Would it unite believers in awe, or would it terrify those who have turned their backs on Him? If the ark exists somewhere on earth, hidden in a secret chamber or guarded by a mysterious order, its discovery could trigger monumental consequences. The ark is sacred to Judaism, Christianity, and even Islam. Imagine the political and religious tensions that could erupt over who has the right to claim it. Could the search for the ark bring nations to the brink of war? The Middle East, already a region fraught with turmoil, might become the epicenter of a battle not just for land, but for the very presence of God. But what if this conflict itself is part of the prophecy? Jesus warned us in Matthew 24:6, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." Could the ark's reemergence be the catalyst for these wars, a sign that the end times are upon us? When the ark returns, will it be a sign of redemption or a harbinger of judgment? The ark is more than just a box. It is a symbol of divine justice. In the Old Testament, those who treated the ark disrespectfully were struck down, a testament to the overwhelming holiness it carried. If the ark were to return in the end times, its presence could serve as a final dividing line between the righteous and the wicked. It might not just represent God's mercy, but His ultimate judgment. As Revelation warns, the seventh trumpet signals the final outpouring of God's wrath on a rebellious world. Could the ark be the instrument of that wrath, a reminder that it is a dreadful thing to fall into the hands of the living God? Hebrews 10:31. But what if the ark's true purpose was never about its physical presence? Could its mystery be a lesson to remind us that faith isn't about what we can see or touch, but about trusting in what we cannot see? What does this tell us about our relationship with God today? The Ark continues to inspire curiosity, reverence, and even controversy. Across generations, it stirs our hearts to ask deeper questions. Why did God allow it to vanish? Could it ever return? And if it did, are we truly ready for what it would reveal? So what do you think? Could the Ark still be out there, hidden and waiting for the right time to reveal its secrets? Or is it gone forever, its purpose fulfilled? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Ark of the Covenant isn't just a lost artifact. It's a reminder of God's sovereignty, a symbol of His promises, and a mystery that calls us to deeper faith. Whether hidden on earth or taken to heaven, the Ark continues to inspire awe, curiosity, and devotion. Let's carry its lessons in our hearts as we walk in God's light. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this journey with others who are seeking God's truth. Together, let's uncover the mysteries of His eternal plan. Until next time, may you walk in His light and uncover the hidden truths of His love.